Hello, my name is Geogen and welcome back to World of Tanks. You join me on the patch 10.0 test server to see what all the new changes are, or what all the new proposed changes are. And on the website there's a forum post or a web blog post or whatever explaining that the server's up, and there's several different things going on. One of the minor things is a lot of the vehicles have become in HD model, such as this KV1, which is looking pretty nice. It doesn't look that much different from the normal KV1, but yeah, HD model, quite good to see. Also, the IS-8 has now become the T10 and has received some nice decal or details even on the turret. Yeah, this light here, and sleeping bags and whatever, machine gun on top. And you may have seen that pop up in the bottom right hand corner there. There are also other vehicles in the game now, and the T54 also has had a nice update. But the main point of this video is, firstly, the FV4202 is now gone, disappeared, and has been replaced with the long awaited Centurion Action 10. And here it is. It's looking rather beautiful indeed. As you can see, it looks rather like the Centurion hull with a similar turret to Centurion 7/1, but it does have this sloped mantleless turret, much like the FV4202. I'll be talking about the Action 10 later on. Additionally, there's been changes to the US tech tree, especially the lower tier tank destroyers and artillery. So the T57 light artillery piece, the tier 2, has been replaced with this T1 HMC. As you can see here, it's nothing really hugely remarkable about it. It's got a similar gun and it has no armor. It's reasonably mobile, but there you go. I don't know what this is based on. It may be a T1 Cunningham. Yep, T1 Cunningham incorporated design elements. So there you go, different artillery piece at tier 1. Moving on, we have changes to the dastardly T18 tank destroyer, which was the Seal Cover's weapon of choice at tier 2. It used to be a tier 2 tank destroyer. It's now moved up a tier and has become an artillery piece. However, it still maintains the same gun, but it now has a different role. If these changes go ahead, you can see it also has an HD update. So it has the same gun, M1A1 gun, 38 pen, 91 with the heat. It's been nerfed, the heat, but it is an artillery, so it now camps at the back, really. Don't know its range. Doesn't tell me its range. But yeah, this is an SPG artillery piece. I haven't actually been able to play it because no one wants to play lower tiers, but there is a change. You won't see any tier 2 T18 tank destroyers anymore. To replace the tier 2 tank destroyer, they've introduced this T3 HMC, which is based on the T2 light tank. And you can see they've opened up a compartment here and fitted a 75mm howitzer or a 37mm gun at stock, or a 2-pounder when you upgrade it, or this 75mm, as I say. I've only played that once, and this artillery once, because there is a new proposed mode down here called Proving Ground, where you are able to play against bots in tier 1 and 2 vehicles. And then lastly, the T82 tank destroyer, which was a tier 3 tank destroyer, has now moved to tier 4 and is now an artillery piece. As you can see here, has a similar gun, but it can't use the rapid fire guns, of course, as it's now an artillery. So those are the changes to the Americans. I believe there's nothing new. These two are still here. It's just there's another 2 artillery to the mix, everything's good. Right, moving on. The introduction of the Centurion Action 10, or the AX, as I could call it, has changed to other British vehicles, the Carnarvon and the Conqueror, when they're in their stock / fully upgraded versions, depending on what vehicle. So the Carnarvon, if we just take this turret off here, now at stock starts with the same gun and the fully upgraded turret that you're used to. So the Centurion Mark II turret, 152 frontal armor, the thing that you get on the Centurion essentially. But now the fully upgraded turret is the Centurion AX's turret, and as you can see, that's what it looks like on there, and with the upgraded gun. So you have a tier 10 tanks turret with 198mm of armor, but no mantle, some sloping. Have been penetrated by tier 10 guns, of course, when shooting up here, and of course everyone's firing heat. So, moving on, the Conqueror has also got this configuration in its stock format. You can start with a Type A gun, or just purchase that, and that's what you'll get straight out the box for the Conqueror. Of course, everyone prefers the Conqueror with this and this gun. And there you go, there's a Conqueror fully upgraded. So that's a change. But, moving on to the Action 10. We'll just do a brief breakdown of what I've noticed immediately, and then we'll try and show you some good gameplay. So, 1950 hit points, same as the FE4202, 55 tons, which, if we compare to the Centurion, is slightly heavier. That's Centurion 7.1. Slightly heavier, however, has a great engine, 1040 horsepower, and therefore the top speed has gone up significantly by 13 kilometers an hour. The cap on the Centurion 7.1 and Centurion 1 is that it had a 40 kilometers an hour top speed, and therefore the traverse speed was quite low, along with the turret traverse speed. But because of this more powerful engine, you have a faster top speed and a really good turret hull and turret traverse, 50 for the tracks and 48 degrees for the turret, meaning you can reacquire targets quickly, change direction quickly, and do all kinds of good jazz. Moving on, the hull armor is the same as the 7.1, 120 on the upper plate, 50 on the sides, and 31 on the rear. In other words, really bad on the rear and sides, but possible potential for bouncing. However, as I say, this is test server conditions, and all the heat has been fired at me today, so it's very hard to get you an accurate representation of the armor. When it rolls out onto the live server, though, I will be able to eventually pick one of these up and play it. So, moving on, it gets a 105mm gun, the L7A2, as opposed to the L7A1 that you're used to on the 7/1. 105 caliber, of course, almost 7 rounds a minute, which is great. 268 pen, which you're used to. 390 average damage, which again you're used to. 0.32 accuracy, which is well, good. Not as good as the Leopard 1. I know he said good, which doesn't quite roll off the tongue. And 2.1 second aim time. So, very accurate gun, very good aim time, great penetration, great damage for the rate of fire you get. However, it doesn't use premium HESH, it instead gets these heat rounds which have 330 penetration and the same damage. And you get 105mm high explosive HESH rounds, which have 105 penetration. So those are quite nice to use on Waffenträgers and other vehicles of the like. We're very poorly armoured. So, that's a brief breakdown. Oh, and of course it also has 410 meters view range, which is the same as the 7.1. And the same signal range, which is pretty standard. So, enough talk. Let's see how this thing plays compared to what you may be used to on the FE4202. Okay, so here we are in the Action 10. By this point of my playing today, I was getting frustrated with all of the heat ammunition just being fired, and therefore the result is nothing extremely special. It's not a unicorn play. It's not like 8,000 damage done. It's just showing you how the vehicle works. So as you can see, we've reached 53 kilometers an hour, and the vehicle is very quick in comparison to the 7.1 and Centurion 1 before that. It has very good gun depression, as you can see, a good aim time, and I know that Canonia has very little in the form of armor, but we managed to kill him quite nicely without aiming at him for too long. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but the turret seems to rotate very nicely indeed. We don't have brilliant that good gun depression, but still pretty comparable to that of the previous Tier 9 and Tier 8 mediums, and that of the FV4202 as well. I was just looking at the stats of the FV4202. This turret is slightly better at the front, but has has worse side and rear turret armor, but has much the same configuration in terms of there's no mantle on the turret. And you saw that we missed a couple of shells there. No gun is perfect, and the likelihood is we probably would have ricocheted off the side of one of those FV turrets. 215B 183 turrets. So we're just trying to see if we can see anybody that looks like we can take them quickly. But it seems most of the fighting is happening in the town. I know there's a tank destroyer right at the back of those woods, and I think there's a heavy tank around somewhere. Yeah, at the A7 quadrant. We'll see him in a moment. But I've noticed that these guys on the right here seem distracted, especially this FV. And what I should be doing is firing high explosive. And we just took a shot from the left there, from that heavy tank. And the Type 5 heavy. The FV4005 just noticed me pretty much, so we shot him a couple of times. And now he's going to engage that Force 155. I shoot the Waffenträger, even though it had already been killed by the Force 155, and we take a bounce from the left hand side. It hit our upper plate at a very good angle. Again, I'm still firing AP, and this is a noob mistake. I should be firing HE at that turret, because the turret is only 14mm round on that vehicle. But if we shoot into the turret, we're likely to knock out a crew member, or, as you heard there, the turret ring. As you can see, you can't turn his turret, and there he goes. We should have been using a HE before, but wait, a new challenger approaches, and I'm stuck behind this wreck. I do not want to get shot by that guy. And there's a wreck behind me as well, so how are we going to play this? No one likes to get shot by FV215B 183s. And he decides to fire at the turret for some reason, and therefore we're allowed to move up, track him, he repairs his tracks, and then we get going. However, I do mess up that shot, even though it was aimed at the side of the target. It just buries itself into the ground, and there's an IS-4 here. And test server conditions, nice heat round straight through the front of the vehicle, nothing I can do about that. Try and hit him again, but fail, and I'm getting the hell out of there because I don't want to get hit by heat round. And he misses his heat round, and then we drive round back again. And here is where I make a really stupid error for some reason. I don't normally do this. I hit him, and then instead of carrying on to get out of there, I try and kill him, but he's on far too much health, and as he's firing nothing but heat, no amount of angling on a flat surface like the turret, or relatively flat surface, is not going to save me. And so we die after doing quite a bit of good work on the western flank, and showing you the good gun depression, good gun handling. I mean, we did miss quite a few shells, good penetration, and most critical of all, a good rate of fire. I think it has a similar rate of fire to the FV202, but if you're on the Centurion 7.1 such as myself, it's quite refreshing to play this vehicle here, as you can see, this guy's quite good in it already. He's got 2 stars, or two barrel rings, even though it's just a test server, so he must have been playing it quite a while. But yeah, there you go, there's the Action 10. Not a brilliant amount of damage, it was around 3,500, but there we go. Just a little bit more gameplay now, just highlighting the good gun depression of the Action 10. We're on Malinovka, I believe, I forget the name of this map, I think it's Malinovka, and we're on encounter mode, and therefore we can take the hill, using the good speed, using the good agility, and then use the good gun depression on this little ridgeline here, as well as letting it aim for 2.1 seconds and pushing the weakly armoured side turret armour on both an E75 and a T125. I mean, they're not weakly armoured from the side, but for this gun with 268 penetration, it's not going to hold up too well. And also this 121 has a good upper plate, but if we're shooting down on him, there's no problem at all. We mitigate the angling of that 120mm plate, making it much thinner than it could be. We also have good view range, as you can see. We're getting some ribbons for helping people doing assistance damage. Nice shot into the T57, pull back and dodge the 215B. Looking for the E75's hole, which is right in the mantle like a fool. Not brilliant play. But I know where I should have been shooting them. And now we're looking for the side. There it is. Thank you. Over angling there. And we also missed the spaced armor, the 121. I think it has spaced armor anyway.
Let's locate another target.
And here we go. There's an E50M. Again, aiming for the turret. The E50M's turret isn't brilliant. We hit the side of it instead of the front plate. Got shot by an invisible enemy. Have to expect that. We're being spotted by all these guys in front of us. My voice is going a little bit. That was a heat round and it bounced, which is very surprising considering A, it's a T57's gun, B, we don't have any form of spaced armor on the front of the form of the mantle. And then, did you hear that nice sizzle? Yeah, that was a Jagdpanzer E100 firing 420mm of penetration at me. So it was going well, and then it suddenly didn't go very well at all. But that showed you some good gun depression and good use of the rate of fire. I kept shooting most of the time. So last thing is I'm on the World of Tanks website right now, and I'm on a post which was posted today, technical test of new game mechanics. It tells you various things. Importantly, it tells you about these new 2 maps added to the rampage mode and a new rampage battle mode, or improvements to that. I unfortunately couldn't play it. There weren't many people playing at the time I'm recording / playing this. But more interestingly, this is stuff I've talked about in the video in terms of HD and changes to the American lower tier and the FV422, etc., and the Cadaver and the Conqueror. But more interestingly, these tanks have been buffed. For me, the Jagdtiger has been buffed, the premium one, which you can't buy anymore. It has a better top speed, so that may make it less painful to play. The Jagdpanther, the Ferdinand, and the Panther II have had the 105 L52 gun. Its ammunition now flies quicker through the air. It's been buffed, in other words, which is good. The E50M similarly has had its gun buffed in terms of shell speed. Engine power of the KV220 is also improved by 200 horsepower, and the C54 first prototype, which is a pretty good medium premium tank, has had the dispersion of its gun reduced, the reload time reduced, and the aim time reduced. The South coast map has also been removed. And there are also more special effects. The only special effects I've heard are the weather. There's thunder every now and again, and it's okay. And there's also some radio traffic when you're inside the garage. So that will do there. I hope you enjoyed the video of this overview, roughly, of the patch 10 server. Of course, the rampage mode, I may well do a video on that, but at the time of recording I couldn't get into any games, which is weird, but I will be playing that when I can, and perhaps I'll give you a video for you to watch. So if you did enjoy it, please be sure to give it a like down below, possibly share it. If you know where the share button is, it's on the left of the video down below. And if you're new, which I hazard a guess a lot of you will be because you're probably interested in the patch 10 server, possibly consider subscribing. I am making a lot of World of Tanks content, at least 3 times a week, as well as World of Warships and other games, when they take my interest. So if you want to help me out with my channel, please be sure to subscribe down below. And if you don't want to, then I can't make you. It's up to you. But, as always, I've been Geogen, this has been World of Tanks on the patch 10 test server, and I'll see you chaps and chapettes in the next one.